Hi, I'm Jo Keat and I'm the Commercial Director here at Glenigan, and today I'm bringing you our weekly update on how COVID-19 has been impacting UK construction this week. Firstly, some great news is that over the last week we have seen an acceleration in the number of suspended sites being restarted by contractors and developers. And this certainly coincides with the tone of conversations that I've been having with firms this week, who on the whole appear to be cautiously optimistic about the direction the market is now heading. So far, our researchers have identified 585 sites that have restarted this week. This compares with 295 last week. 38% of the initially suspended sites have now restarted, with a higher proportion of suspended office, health and education projects having been reactivated. Larger sites in particular have been reactivated, and as a result, half of the value of construction work that was initially suspended is now underway again. Unsurprisingly, the greatest improvement in active sites have been in England, where just a fifth of sites are now suspended, which is 7% down on last week. In Wales, 21% of sites are currently suspended. This compares to around 78% of sites in Scotland and Northern Ireland, where there has been no increase in site activity, as the more extensive shutdowns implemented by the devolved authorities remain in place. The Scottish Government has announced plans to implement a 4-phase plan to unlock Scottish sites from the 28th of May, hopefully leading to the gradual reactivation of sites next month. And while we're seeing positive shifts in on-site activity, there were still 2,201 suspended sites yesterday, which means that around a quarter of large-scale construction activity is still suspended. At 54%, private housing continues to have the highest proportion of sites suspended. However, the number of reactivated housing projects has grown sharply over the last 3 weeks, with major house builders instigating phased reopening of their sites, and we're anticipating a further acceleration in site reactivations over the coming weeks. Our researchers have spoken to a large number of companies who are currently busy on site, accessing and implementing measures to enable social distancing, which will enable those sites to reopen fully and construction activity to begin again. With regards to bidders, an average of 80 bidders per day were added against projects this week. And that's a sharp jump on previous weeks and in line with the daily averages seen earlier in the year prior to the lockdown. And while one swallow doesn't make a summer, the strong performance this week does demonstrate that there is still a significant pool of work currently out to tender. It appears that the average tendering process has been extended during the lockdown, and this may also in part be due to delays in decision-making processes as key staff work from home, and with the delayed decisions exacerbating the short-term drop in contract awards. There may be a progressive recovery in invitations to tender and contract awards over the coming weeks. As the market recovers, contractors and subcontractors will need to be especially vigilant when bidding for work, seeking a suitably diverse portfolio of projects to safeguard their cash flow. Firms will also need to be mindful of the potential impact of social distancing on both the cost and the potential build times of the projects that they're bidding for. Contractors that I've been speaking to are also exploring new regions and sectors in a bid to maximise the number of new business opportunities available to them, enabling them to be more selective when targeting new business to future-proof and de-risk going forwards. With regards to planning approvals this week, the early development pipeline remains relatively firm. The number of planning applications being published by planning authorities has averaged 1,382 a day over the last week. This is just 12% down on the daily average seen earlier this year prior to the COVID-19 lockdown. And at 1,323, the daily average number of published planning decisions is 16% lower than the average seen prior to the lockdown. The decline in applications and decisions on large construction projects of 250,000 or more has been greater. Applications over the last week were down by a quarter on pre-lockdown levels, while decisions were 17% lower. The sharper decline in larger projects may reflect delays in compiling and submitting the supporting documentation for these larger projects. Therefore, an easing in the lockdown may prompt an upturn in applications over the next few weeks. All of which suggests that the industry has a potentially growing pipeline of planned projects as the lockdown is eased over the weeks ahead. So in conclusion this week, with on-site activity increasing and bidder numbers jumping back towards pre-COVID levels, it's been another positive week for UK construction. I speak to many businesses and it's encouraging to hear how they're trying to adapt and take proactive steps to succeed in the market we now find ourselves in. Manufacturers, for example, are beginning to get back up to speed to meet the anticipated demand, and many are developing new product lines, from new social distancing signage to wearable proximity alarms, filling gaps in the market that quite simply didn't exist just 2 months ago. If you'd like to discuss how we can help you and your business to explore ways to safeguard your sales pipeline going forward, then please do get in touch. We're here to help and support you. In the meantime, from everybody at Glenigan, as always, stay safe and thank you for watching.